true friends in both places.
Hey, we're live.
Since you're online, can you take this?
No,
No, you still
I've
can't?
got no way to do that.
Okay, I thought you could take it online. On the website, can't you pay?
The website's down, I sent you that link.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that
Oh, I
website.
hadn't looked at my emails.
Yeah.
So, but I
There's
can
no
do
way
it.
I can do it. You can't do it until we get the website that I got.
How much longer do you think?
Well,
God willing, if the creeks don't rise.
Techie guy.
asked me 2 days ago, I said, it would said it's gonna be up now.
I'm
All
sorry.
right, somebody could, Ruth?
Yes.
No. Who could go on YouTube and check, see if this
I
is
don't
live?
have a smartphone or tablet anymore.
Smartphone?
Yeah, where you want me to go on?
Go on YouTube, Poetry Society LC, and see if you can join the live stream.
Yeah, and we need to test this mic to make sure it's working and
YouTube. Just regular YouTube?
Yep.
Okay. Bingo. And then,
so how's life in Ruth Land?
see where I search.
Good?
Here, I'm on YouTube.
I'm having
You
computer
search.
problems. My
Find
computer
it,
is
you know where you're looking.
in the shop.
Going on YouTube.
Right now.
Oh, no.
And I've got a column from my alumni
You can search
magazine
for
coming
Poetry
up
Society
a week from Monday, so it's like,
Poetry Society SC.
please, because I have documents people submitted to me on that computer. I made hard copies, but it's so much easier to deal with when I have the digital.
You don't have a friend you can borrow a computer from?
Well, I have my husband's laptop, but I have to submit the column and photos that people send in, and the photos I didn't transfer, and so. Anyway,
You can't sign it. You could probably sign into your account. What kind of computer?
iMac, and his is a Windows laptop, so.
It's- I don't know about the interface of those two. I know my wife and I, we use Chromebooks because we're,
Okay,
right? But we can sign into each other's account.
well,
Just, when it comes on, it says, what account, sign in. In fact, I set it up so that both of our pictures and sign-in credentials show up on the
That's
opening
nice.
screen. And
that's nice.
so if one of our computers goes down, although I'm over computers, I have like 2 tablets,
Okay,
two Chromebooks, 1 Windows computer for those rare occasions when I have to have one. There's certain things that you can only run on a Mac or a real Windows computer. You can't do on a Chromebook. So I had to get the Windows computer for when I was teaching, because with the school stuff, about 90% of it I could do on the Chromebook, but 10% I had to have a Mac or a Windows computer to do.
And so it'd be on View Channel? I got you.
Poetry Society,
Here, the Poetry
okay,
Society.
and there should be one that says live right there, boom, let's see. Hey.
So
I think, if that plays, would you hear it?
I can turn my sound on.
Okay, do that, and I want Charles, you speak into that microphone and say something quiet.
I hear you right now.
No,
Okay.
I can hear it.
No, but can you hear me? That's the question. Yes?
Yes,
Okay, good.
okay.
It's a little bit of tape delay, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, that's all right. If you get out of line, we can. cut you.
Yeah, cut me off so they can,
all right.
start getting
Somehow
into,
this came together.
quoting Terry Southern,
Very stressful every single time. Every time.
I had Dr. Kabani last night at Line Gravy, Wednesday went Line Gravy. And he was more profane than I expected for a Muslim poet. But he was good. He was.
Well, I don't think I swear it in any of the things I'm going to read today, so.
Oh, what? I started a new one here. I'm gonna see if I can.
Oh, and how long am I supposed to read when the reading comes?
It's usually about 40 minutes, I would say.
Okay,
We'd like to make the whole thing take an hour. So between the intros, the Woke to Marry You, 1 hour.
okay. I'll see what's left and I'll go through and say, okay, this one, not that one.
I haven't been in this building since I retired.
I never heard of this building, but that's because I'm an outlander.
It has a great auditorium for concerts. Hey, I was at Woke.
Twice in 48 hours, what can I say?
Hey, well, if not for you, I might not know.
I was just at Whole Foods.
Again, that's where I see you.
Well, sometimes, Carol's doing something or gone. I think Thursday she was on campus. She's still part-time professor. I'll go there and they have a good chicken salad. Yeah, and so I get a little rice and chicken salad
Yeah,
and sit out there on that patio
it's nice.
and have a ginger smoothie. And that's what I did today. Carol's up in, one of our grandkids was playing in Charlotte today. She plays for, I don't know if the number 1 or number 2 right now in North Carolina, under 15 soccer.
Soccer? Okay.
Yeah, and so she played a couple games up in Charlotte,
Yeah,
and Grandma said, I'm going to that.
good for her.
Yeah, I would have gone, but I had already commit, I helped Robin get this place, so
Yeah.
I need to be here.
Yes, you do.
Thank you.
Better getting the things. Hey, I'm Susan Craig.
I'm not.
Please do.
I'm Charles Watts.
Hey, Charles, I'm so glad to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Jim Lundy.
Hey, Jim, glad to see you, Susan Craig.
Been a long
I know you.
time. I've never met you.
I know, and we've known each other through
I
the
know.
website and things.
She normally only gets out to Whole Foods. That's my experience.
That's about it. Yeah. If I even get, this chair is really high. They go down?
I think so, and I'm not sure which button to push.
Oh, there's a lever underneath the chair. There you go. Because when I got in mine, my feet wouldn't reach the ground,
Really, somebody's either really short or.
Well, yeah, yes. I come from what's called a genetic sink. All the males in my family that are between 5'4" and 5'6". The girls can get taller or shorter, but the men are all the same height. I don't know what it is. But from an engineering point of view, I'm the perfect size for a human male.
Is that
Yes, that's based on scientific bullshit.
Is that American statistics or worldwide?
Actually, that was statistics from a relief pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers in the 1960s, who wrote his PhD thesis on what was from an engineering point of view, what was the perfect size for a human male and a human female based on function, not speed, not how high you could jump, not how strong you were, but from a functioning point of view, efficiency of function and that sort of thing. Kinesthesiology, I think it was called.
I know that if you get too tall, that shortens your life.
Yep, exactly. So what he came up with, and it probably has changed over the years, but what he came up with, or what he claimed, and he got his PhD, what he claimed was the perfect size for a human male was 5'6", and the perfect size for a human female was 5'2".
Yes.
You're perfect.
I got the perfect wife.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't have as far to fall either.
Yes. And I could have been lying about that whole thing, but I wasn't.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is, because that seems, what's the average male height, I wonder?
Oh, nowadays,
Yeah, taller, right?
much taller than that.
Probably
Yeah,
5'9", 5'10".
yeah.
Do you really think?
Yeah,
Wow.
seen pictures of that, the basketball?
Yeah, 7'9", right?
Is the average.
Seven, nine. He's the tallest.
Hello, gosh. Twice in a week?
I know, I know.
That's two watching.
Huh?
Two watchings. Two
Worldwide, it's
Two
fine.
people watching.
Cool. Anybody I know?
I don't know, say something, talk to them and say, ask them to chat.
Hey,
Hi there, who are you?
I am Danielle Brentworth, Dr. Danielle Brentworth, finally.
Really? Good to see you.
Hey, you folks online, who are you? We want to know who's watching.
People I saw this week have made it so far.
Did they say anything? Put it in the chat.
Not
A
yet.
dark hole for about 9 months, but so finishing my schoolwork.
Oh.
It was a lot.
Danielle who?
Pardon?
The name?
Danielle Brentworth.
So I'd seen your name and all of
I
that.
know, I
She was a
know.
board member.
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
Once upon a time, I told my husband, I said, I've got to go tonight, despite being tired, because you guys we're in Columbia.
You didn't bring your daughter this time.
No. 2 of the girls are at a party, a little class reunion for their elementary class, now that they're all in 6th grade. So they're big, and then my oldest daughter, Eliana, she's been doing a lot of social media management. So a nonprofit that's been tasked with creating an accessible park. It's a multi-million-dollar project, and they're also looking for donors to add to this pile of money to do something really good for the community, particularly those who have challenges accessing equipment. So she's helping out with that, with their social media. So she's in a meeting with them tonight, trying to get everybody on the same page for role and responsibility and all of that.
So what did your daughter think of the event?
She just had a delightful time.
Good.
She would have liked to stay longer. However, she's frankly at horny. But like if we stay up
Well,
too
we
late.
do that one every first Tuesday.
She's Olivia, the little girl who's with me. She's my writer. She's a writer
She's a mom.
and a reader, basically. Reading is her favorite sport. She gets in trouble all the time at school for reading. Sweet.
Hey, let's see, we got some more here. Great film, The Cosmic Clave. The ARP Press publisher is
Oh,
do you know who that is?
yeah, that's the guy who published my latest book. Dave Donahue. He's an icon of the small press community up in Burlington, Vermont.
Well, easy to say.
Hey there, Dave.
Al, you want to move closer?
Oh, I might, we'll see how many folks show up.
Oh,
But when
2
your
minutes
name is
before,
at the
yeah.
beginning of the alphabet, you spend your life sitting in front of the class.
I have a feeling teachers were also putting you in the front of the class for other reasons.
No, they were putting it in the hallway.
good one.
And I spent a lot of time there.
He says Charles with an exclamation point.
Yeah, he's published probably 40 different authors over the years, and is like a real.
Robin somewhere, and Elizabeth is somewhere.
Yeah. If you don't have a guy getting here, it's
down for shoot up.
Marco. Are we allowed to
And
drink?
Ann
Have never
said she has something to do.
food and beverage
for
allowed in
granddaughter,
here?
or she's gonna-
I haven't got the foggiest notion. I wouldn't worry about it because there's nobody here in the building who would challenge you on it. And it's not an official class or anything like that. And we're poets. We can do whatever we damn well please. So,
And all over. We were at a volleyball game this morning, dropping people off at parties.
The desk was unplugged, that's why it didn't work. Very good.
oh, well, that makes it easier, doesn't it?
Power up the keyboard, just in case. That was the last thing I was worrying about, so.
See if that works.
Where did Ruth and Susan go?
Since it was two women and they left together, I would damn this.
That's the first place I went when I got here. I'm driving for 2 hours.
I would-
Was the drive pretty easy for you?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's 2 weeks ago. I drove for 2 days straight. So, but I did stop in the middle.
Okay.
Is it from Lake Placid if you, hours wise drive?
About 20.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's.
That if you drove straight through, it wouldn't be 20. It would be 17 or 18. But we stopped for the dog. We stopped overnight. We stopped for chai latte. We
Did you see anyone wandering around out there?
Did not. It's a big building. I never been.
I don't think there's enough Westgate ways that they can get here.
I do too.
They don't have any instructions on how to come. I just went through Watson Center and said,
How about?
Was anybody in the
First,
office? Okay, so then
they disagree.
I went there, but then I didn't, nobody was that person. I knew I was on the second floor, so I knew to go first. It's just a massive building.
Yeah.
Oh,
I slept in a side door. It was a bit surprised to find it unlocked. I thought, oh, surely this is going to be locked. I couldn't be this lucky. But it was unlocked.
Which side of the
Which is my fault.
street?
So have it first.
I would say the side facing the river.
Okay.
My cardinal directions are not what they used to be. I'm from the Midwest, so I always know in east and west. How
Let's take a quick look around and I think we should start.
okay. Didn't Al say something about somebody named Elizabeth being in the house but lost?
The letters go.
Yeah.
Efforts going east and
Yes.
west.
So, well, the capital place is the north.
Oh, okay.
Right?
This is the west side. See, disoriented me.
I don't trust my. Greg, I've met you.
Yes, it's so good to see
Oh,
you.
it's so good to see you. Pretty good.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be in a room with hundreds.
So what are you working
I just finished my doctorate over the summer,
on?
and that type of writing is so much.
For those of you on YouTube, we're in a big campus building on the University of South Carolina, and we're waiting for, I think, one more person who showed up, and there may be another one. Oh, there she is. She's coming up from, it's Elizabeth Robbins. She just came up from Hilton Head to join us here today. So we will be able to start in just a few minutes. So hang in, folks.
down, it's supposed to be like a record.
Yeah.
And it's Charles.
It's very
It totally is.
So you get different, we don't have a microphone.
You want me in the front? I have good hearing now. Let's leave that to the dentist.
I think.
I could have brought you an hour.
I'm sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
My best.
I'll move up.
I was upstairs.
But more energetic and-
Trying to figure out how to get down here.
Oh my, yeah. These modern buildings.
Got everyone signed in here. All right.
Ready to go? You going to introduce me or do you want me to just start the thing?
Why don't you introduce yourself?
I just got here.
I have a question for you. I know your name is Elizabeth Robin, but I hear people calling you Robin all the time.
Hi, I'm Susan. I'm using a pseudonym because my last name is Liebenberg. I'm set?
Yep, Yep.
It's not my name anyway, it's my married.
got it.
It didn't feel like mine.
Well, I could call you Robin, right?
If you Google that, where I live, what my pension is, I mean, everything that you would ever want to know about a person, you'll find out in 2 seconds because I'm the only person in the world
With that name.
of
Yeah.
the United States.
We are live, so don't talk about that too
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
Don't,
Girl
you're
knows.
now compromised. There's people in Burlington, Vermont, listening to your name and writing it down. You know? So much for
That's the real
anonymity.
first and middle name.
Okay. Okay, let's roll. My name is Charles Watts. I am a poet. And Jim asked me to do a workshop, and he said, what would you like to do it on? And I thought for 14 minutes, and then got back to him. And I said, I want to do something about the awesome list poem. All right, because it is much more common than people expect. Or people think this is a simple form. It is not a simple form, as we'll see before the day is over. Hopefully, by the end of this workshop, we're going to explore how accumulation and sequence create emotional texture. We're going to experiment with rhythm and tone and imagery and use the list form to explore those things. We're going to draft and refine an original list poem that balances spontaneity and craft, because we'll go back and forth on it. And we will start by figuring out who the heck is here. I'd like to, each of you have a brief introduction, and I'd like you to, at the end of your introduction about who you are and maybe why you're here and why you're interested in poetry, I'd like to know one word that you use to say how you're feeling today. So think about that. You could write down, you need one word to say how you're feeling today. And I want you to say, to also say somewhere in there a word about what your creative state is today. Are you feeling creative? Are you not feeling creative? Are you feeling like you're going to knock it out of the park? Are you feeling like you're going to kick it through the goalpost? How are you feeling in a creative mood? Or are you feeling like, damn, I can't write a poem? Up to you. So you're the closest, Danielle. Introduce yourself.
Today I'm feeling grateful, and I am not, this is not my creative time of the day, so I am very worried about my level of creativity and production. I am a morning writer, so the words come easier for me in the morning, and as the day passes, my words just, I lose them. So, but I'm here, and I'm sure under your wise instruction, I will find my creative prowess
There you
late in the day.
And Susan,
Susan Craig, glad to be
I'm
here.
going to go.
One of those. Sorry. So I'm really glad to be here. How am I feeling? Feeling proud of myself for getting here. Truly, because well, I don't want to go into all that, but I can be a hermit. I'm a poet, writes a lot, and I oftentimes don't attend things. And fortunate that I ran into Al Black, who encouraged me. As far as writing, I'm always put off by prompts. For some reason, I sort of freeze up when I get a prompt, but I'm excited about the list point because I've done list points and I've enjoyed them, but I'd like to learn a lot more about that process.
Thank you, Susan.
Yes.
Speaking of Al Black, why you're here and what your creative level is after.
Well, I'm here because support poetry, you need to support poetry that's happening. And so I try to get to events that are going on in Columbia. And Poetry Society has blessed us with coming here, so it was important I come. But tonight I have to do final edits. And it's creative, but it's the part I hate. But I there's a magazine that wants me to give them 3 story poems for the holidays. And this is the second magazine this month. Well, for December, where they're going to put my poems in for the holidays. That's what they asked me to write them. And I don't celebrate holidays this time of year because it's not my religion. So it's been a real challenge. Especially since I've already got 2 of them going in Vibe magazine. And but it's okay. You know, if you make community, you find a way to celebrate first. And I'm okay. Today I feel good. You know, I saw some friends, walked in the park, and Indiana University beat Penn State. Ohio State unfortunately beat my Boilermakers. But other than that, it's a good day.
Das ist gut. Das ist sehr gut. What do you think, Ruth?
Ruth Wilson. I've seen you on Zoom, most of you, a few times in public. So it's nice to be actually in person. Yeah, I'm feeling glad that the leaves are finally beautiful. I didn't think they would be. I thought it was so dry, everything would just sprinkle up and dry. But it's amazing. Even the crepe myrtles are out doing themselves. As far as writing, today is probably the best day because of computer problems. I've been reading online helps for what may happen and have an upgrade to my operating system. So that's the total opposite of poetry. So I have to switch gears. But when I come to something, especially if I'm here reading, something always generates a new poem or new idea or whatever. So I'm hoping it'll have to happen again. Just
Good. And behind the man behind the camera,
Jim Lundy, I'm here because I have to be. I was very worried because we had so many technical difficulties, and it looked like we were having technical difficulties at first. But now it seems to be working, so I'm relieved. And as far as creativity, I tend to rally if I have to, so I ought to be able to come up with something if we have an exercise, so I'm not too worried. And hopefully I can kind of calm down because I still have that residual anxiety kind of still in me right now. Ruth knows it's like every single time something has gone wrong so far. So I just end up like bracing for it. Bad and all right, that's enough. Let's start.
Okay, let's start. Jim, I'm going to ask you to pass me through.
$75.
Oh, I got chicken.
Okay, first off, what the heck is a list poem? People think of it. I originally, when I originally thought of list poems, when I was originally introduced to them, it was in grammar school, and we had an exercise where we had to write on the top first line of our thing. We had to write, "I can't write a poem," and then you had to list 8 or 9 different things, reasons why you couldn't write that poem. And then you had to put in 2 more lines, which said, "Oh my God, that's a real poem. Shall I write another?" That was my introduction to list poems. And I thought, well, that's cool, but that's not real poetry. That's kind of fake poetry, that's not, and then I researched it a little bit because I discovered that as I was writing my own poetry, a lot of times I was writing lists of images. I was writing this image. I would think of something that I wanted to write about, a subject matter, a topic would pop into my head, or a line would pop into my head. And then I just follow it with images that fed off of that, but they weren't necessarily connected to each other. Later on, I had to connect them one way or another, but it was really a list. I was making a list of images, a list of concepts, a list of things that were going on, and I discovered that this is actually a particular kind of poem which is studied by people. It's called an inventory poem or a catalog poem. Um, the main structure is a list of items. The main structure is images, people, places, ideas related to some sort of central figure that's going on. It has a structure, which is primarily a list. I've written all this down for you, but I'm going over it because we have, how many people in here have been or are teachers?
Long
Yeah.
time coach, but not.
God bless you.
God bless us, everyone. Yes. Teachers know that if you want somebody to learn something, you have to see it, say it, read it, write it at least 7 times before it will stick in the brain. And I personally use that technique if I run across a new word, for example, a word that I don't understand. I will read it, write it, see it, say it 7 times for 7 days, 7 times a day for 7 times for 7 days, and then I own that word. It belongs to me. Yeah, and I've even taken up recently, I'll read a couple of them tonight when we get into the reading. Um, I found I'm doing that. If I see a word that I don't know, I'll look up the definition, I'll type up the definition as my epigram, and I'll write a poem about the word so that I can remember it and make it my own. It's really a weird thing. Anyway, but most of them are list poems. That's a whole nother story. Usually they have a separate theme. There are no fixed rules for a step poem. And we're going to look at some. I've got some examples here that I'm going to give you step poems that how do you say, Shakespeare? People don't think of him as a list poem writer, but there you go. Who else do I have on here? Anybody know Carolyn Forget?
She's ready.
She has. Yeah. And Shel Silverstein, Walt Whitman, Gerard Manley Hopkins, and Alan Miller. And I haven't given you the poems yet. I'll give those to you. So anyway, there's a lot of examples of list poems that we don't think of as list poems. We think of it, Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. It's a sonnet. It's not a list poem. We're going to examine it, and we're going to find out that it actually is. Right? As well as some others. There are no fixed rules. You don't have to have rhymes. You don't have to have rhythms. You don't have to have enjambment, but you can have all of those things. It's a really open form. what we'll find, I think, as we go through the exercise, we'll do some writing in here as the workshop goes on. What we'll find is that the technique of if you're going to consciously write a list poem as opposed to having the inspiration and start writing and the inspiration comes up and you just are following that inspiration as opposed to having a formal format that you're following. You're going to have a formal format that you're following to write the list poem as an introduction, and then we'll go through it. We'll parse that tear it apart, put it back together, and hopefully end up with a really nice poem at the end of things. It works for me sometimes. Usually, list poems will tell a story or do an emotion, or you know, and the power of it comes from the accumulation of detail. You know, detail on a subject, detail on a subject, detail on a subject. Let's see if I can turn it up.
Make it more vertical.
That depends. It just completely fell apart. Is this anybody? We'll see. We'll see. Let us know if this is bad. I can't do much about it. Okay, so historically, it goes back. You know, anybody familiar with Allen Ginsberg? Hal? That's a list poem. It's a list of things, one after the other. Walt Whitman, Song of Myself, list poem, all the way through. List poem. It's the way it's structured. Objects, ideas, memories, questions, feelings, you know. And as you go on, as those ideas come out of you, they will fall into a pattern. They will fall into a rhythm. They will follow. You'll see that you're because of the way the human mind works, that you're coming up with something based on you know the idea that I don't have to make a complete poem. I don't have to make this line work with this line. I just have to come up with another line that hits my subject, and then we'll deal with later how to make it into a more complete and perfect poem. So I have told you what the examples are. And I'm going to have could you pass these out? These are actual poems that we're going to. I don't know if we'll have time to do all of them, but we'll go through. I'll take a vote. You can look and say, which of these people do you want to go through and choose maybe 3 of them and take a critical look at the list that they've created and how they've used it to make this poem. Okay, and I'll just briefly introduce the poems, and then we'll take a vote and say which one do you want to do first. Okay, Carolyn Forche, she's read here before. You said, Al, and this is you don't normally think of a prose poem as a list poem, you know, but this is a good example of it. I won't read the whole thing, but just to give you a taste, so you'll see what this might work out if we study this one. What have you heard is true? I was in his house. His wife carried a tray of coffee and sugar. His daughter filed her nails. His son went out for the night. There were the daily papers, pet dogs, a pistol on the cushion beside him. Lists, images, nothing that is quote unquote a poetic flow or anything like that. It's a pure list. William Shakespeare, Sonnet 18. Here's the main idea. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Yes. Yeah, I can. Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Yeah, well, rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. Well, yeah, another thing, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. And here's another thing, sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shut. It's a list. It's a list of descriptives of the person that he's talking about. Pure List poem. I, I have never had a teacher of mine who was teaching Shakespeare say, shall I compare thee to a List poem? No, they don't say that. They don't say that. Uh, so I put that in there because I thought it was interesting that most people don't think of Shakespeare that way. Shel Silverstein, he's probably the first poet that I related to as a young person. Mr. Grumpledump's song, everything's wrong, days are too long, sunshine's too hot, wind is too strong, blah, 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 blah. Everything's wrong. He just a list of everything that he doesn't like. It's pretty funny. I know my granddaughters loved it, so he had to put it in here. It's an easy one to see, though. It's an easy one to see what he's done and what he's doing. Walt Whitman, I hear America singing. I hear America singing the varied carols I hear. And then he goes through what the carols are. Those of mechanics, each one singing his as it should be blithe and strong. The carpenter singing his as he measures his plank or beam. The mason singing his. It's a List poem. It's a pure List poem. In fact, the whole book is a List poem, if you think of it like this. I had to go. I had to do a Gerard Manley Hopkins because he's so weird. Glory be to God for dappled things. Here's our subject matter, right? Things that are not uniform, singular color, whatever, dappled things. For skies of couple color as a brinded cow, for rose moles all in stipple upon trout that swim, fresh fire coal, chestnut falls, finches, wings. Isn't that beautiful stuff? Man, what a guy. List poem, though. It's a list of objects, items that all relate to his theme, glory be to God for these things I'm going to list for you. And then the last one, Why We Oppose Pockets for Women, by Alice Duer Miller. And she actually numbers them, makes it really apparent that this is a list. One, because pockets are not a natural right. Two, because the great majority of women do not want pockets. If they did, they would have them. And it's just a list of things about pockets. So each of these is a real List poem. Which do we have someone who'd like to speak up and say, I'd like to do this one? No, choose a poem that we want to work for. Which would you like to work on? The prose poem. Okay. This is The Colonel by Carolyn Forche. Do you want to read it? Will they be able to hear on there? Probably not. Okay, I'll read it, and then we can comment, and you can yell so they can hear you. The Colonel by Carolyn Forche. She was born in 1950. This is the poem that describes the actions and possessions of a dictator. Got a theme, so now we're going to see a list of things. What you have heard is true. I was in his house. His wife carried a tray of coffee and sugar. His daughter filed her nails. His son went out for the night. There were daily papers, pet dogs, a pistol on the cushion beside him. The moon swung bare on its black cord over the house. On television was a cop show. It was in English. Broken bottles were embedded in the walls around the house to scoop the kneecaps from a man's leg or cut his hands to lace. On the windows, there were gratings like those in a liquor store. We had dinner, rack of lamb, good wine. A gold bell was on the table for calling the maid. The maid brought green mangoes, salt, a type of bread. I was asked how I enjoyed the country. There was a brief commercial in Spanish. His wife took everything away. There was some talk then of how difficult it had become to govern. The parrot said hello on the terrace. The colonel told it to shut up and pushed himself from the table. My friend said to me with his eyes saying nothing. The colonel returned with a sack used to bring groceries home. He spilled many human ears on the table. They were like dried peach halves. There is no other way to say this. He took one of them in his hands, shook it in our faces, dropped it into a water glass. It came alive there. I am tired of fooling around, he said. As for the rights of anyone, tell your people they can go fuck themselves. He swept the ears onto the floor with his arm and held the last of his wine in the air. Something for your poetry, no? He said. Some of the ears on the floor caught this scrap of his voice. Some of the ears on the floor were pressed to the ground. Is this brutal or what? What? You're saying, ooh, Robert, what's the thing?
Just so much. Because most of it is just, banal, like anyone's house. Then and then have the what's the next one she does? There's something before the ears, and then the ears, and then yeah. My friend said, "Say nothing with his eyes."
Yeah.
It works so well because of the banality of the list in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, the ears, it leads you, it surprises you, or it surprised me.
There's sort of magical realism in ears.
It is. And which dictator do you think they're talking about?
That
Could be any one of them.
Spanish.
It's Spanish. I'm thinking maybe Brazil. Maybe. Huh? Yep, that's true. That's true. Argentina. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Maybe there you go. Except I would think that she would have mentioned Evita somewhere in there or some woman image. Yeah, or Peru. But yeah, I think the reason this works for me as a poem, not just as a list of unrelated objects, is because it does move from the banal to the horrifying. In a I don't know if you call it a subtle way, but it flows into it as opposed to slapping you across the face with it. And by the time you reach the end of it, it's like, my God, what a brutal thing is being discussed here, with this poem. I think it really works. It worked for me. When I first read it, I started reading and I said, this is a bore. And by the time I got to the end of it, I said, this is not a bore. This is the real deal. This is
the way that India says so much just by describing some of the ears catching what he's saying, some of the ears pressed to the ground, because there's information there that's important. It's just that's a good poem.
Yeah, it's a real poem. It's a real. What do you think, Danielle?
I was really struck by the dictator, and it almost to me as if the dictator breaks like the fourth wall, if you will, and is like, oh, by the way, this is for your poem. Within the poem, like that kind of nuance.
Yeah.
It felt like that moment in television where the actor looks dudes straight in the eye. And I think that increases like the horror. Like if you see yourself kind of looking the dictator in the eye.
Like, what would you say? Oh, I'm not going to write a poem about this, really. Or, okay, what would be the right answer?
There's no right answer.
Don't cut off my ear, please.
I said, no, this.
Carol Crochet writes a lot about this kind of issues. Involved with humanity, or
Yeah, it's a very, this poem has a lot of, it's casual inhumanity. It's,
That's exactly how it happened.
yeah, it's like, you just fall into it. You don't realize it's happening. I have my, uh, uh, one of my friends who recently passed in her late 90s was in concentration camps during the World War II in Germany, and she said, I asked her, I said, did you ever have a chance to leave? Could you have gotten out before the horror got really bad? And she says, I could have. I had the opportunity, but I didn't do it because I thought it wouldn't ever get that bad. I just, I just took it as it'll happen to them, but it won't happen to me. You know, my life is too, my life is too good. I contribute to society. I'm a conductor. This. She was a painter and a poet. She said, I'm a painter and a poet. I'm not a danger to anyone. Right? Didn't work out. Did not work out. But she managed to make it through. That's okay. She showed me her tattoo. Yeah, it was very cool. So, what would we like to move on to? Who would? Yeah.
So in the very beginning of the poem, I think you have that line, the moon swung there on its black cord over the house, which is sort of a foreboding. And it's
It sure is.
Beautiful line, poetic line in this fall. Identity, or whatever you call that. I thought that was right.
Yeah, there is a change of tone that comes on there, and if we look at the Shakespeare sonnet, y'all are probably familiar with the concept of the change that happens in a Shakespearean sonnet when you get to the last part of it, where there's a sudden change of mood, where he's laying out this and this, and this is what everything is happening, this is what's happening, but. And then there's a switch called the bolt. And I think that's where the bolt is. That's when you suddenly get an image. It says, wait a second, this is not just a mundane living room that we're talking about. The moon hanging from a black cord, it's like intimations of mortality as opposed to intimations of immortality. So does anybody have a second one that they want to talk about? We're going to talk about 3, and then we're going to write some. Anybody have a favorite? Someone else's turn. Pockets.
Carolyn Forshea worked
Could have been El Salvador. They've had plenty of dictators. Okay, for our online audience, I'll read this, and we'll see where we go. This is the audience choice: Why We Oppose Pockets for Women by Alice Duer, 1874 to 1942. This is just an unadulterated list. This is a pure list, all right? And she stated the theme in the title. I said we state the theme, and then we write the list of things that are going to be related to that title. So why we oppose pockets for women? 1, because pockets are not a natural right. 2, because the great majority of women do not want pockets. If they did, they would have them. 3, because whenever women have had pockets, they have not used them. 4, because women are required to carry enough things as it is without the additional burden of pockets. 5, because it would make dissension between husband and wife as to whose pockets were to be filled. 6, because it would destroy man's chivalry towards women if they did not have to carry all her things in his pockets. Because men are men and women are women, we must not fly in the face of nature. 8, because pockets have been used by men to carry tobacco, pipes, whiskey flasks, chewing gum, and compromising letters. We see no reason to suppose that women would use them more wisely. So this is a humorous poem, but I'm reading it as a man. I'm reading it as a man, and I get to the line that says, because is 6, because it would destroy man's chivalry towards women if he did not have to carry all her things in his pockets. And I can tell you every time that we get in the car and my wife is driving and she's got the keys and we have a car that will only start if you have the key in your pocket, and we go into a place and she says, I don't want to carry my purse. Can I put your keys with the fob that's this big and 6 keys on it and a couple of credit card things for grocery stores and stuff like, can you carry these? And I've got a pocket that looks like a mouse is in there. It's exactly the opposite of this. So I mean, I thought when I first read this, I thought maybe I should write one from a man's point of view. Domestic tranquility. There you go, Al.
And that rhymes, so I think you're on your way to a poem.
There you go. And answer to Carolyn, and you could send it to her.
What's interesting, he's been dead for 85 years, and women are talking about why they don't have pockets on their clothes. It's a big topic. In fact, I just watched a comedy special on Netflix where she made a whole thing about why don't just give us pockets, please, just give us pockets. It'd be funny.
That was the topic.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Every time I get a dress that has pockets and somebody compliments me on the dress, and I always, first thing I do, and
It
His pockets.
Pockets.
There's a handful of
It's a great surprise when you have them, especially the dress.
dress designers that put pockets in formal wear. And so I'm chaperoning these these proms and other functions, and you see these young girls so happy about having pockets because it's a place to slip their phone, keys, whiskey flask.
Whiskey flasks. Yeah, yeah.
I remember chaperone.
Well, yeah, and I mean, my wife pretty much won't wear anything that doesn't have any pants that don't have pockets because she's got to have something in the back to put her phone in, and she's walking around. She doesn't want to carry an extra kind of thing.
I just very first because my experience with the right system is if it isn't actually right, they're going to be opposed to it, at least the men. And the men in power.
At least the ones from the South Carolina legislature.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I wonder, does anybody know the history of pockets? Did the Cavaliers have pockets? You know, I see these tight pants that they're all wearing, and there wouldn't be a place for a pocket. They all carried band purses. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I think it's like a suffragette.
Well, she's too young for a real suffragette. Well-
in the perfect age for
Well, maybe so. That's the early 20s.
I'm just wondering if it was in response to that.
It could be, and I don't know the history of the woman.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't seen much of her work, but when I Googled list poems, she came up. So there you go.
I just made me wonder.
Yep. Yep. Well, I liked it. I put it in because it is so straightforward an example of the genre. Right? It's real easy to see. You don't have to think about whether or not it really is or really isn't. Let's look at one more. Who would like to choose one for one more?
I've got a soft spot for the Shakespeare sonnet.